Hello. I thought today I would do a little tidy up. Not a huge cleanse, but a bit of a tidy up around the wildlife pond. Now, I'm fairly sure there's very little living in the pond because it's a hideous green colour, which means it needs more oxygenating plants in it. So I need to go and get some of those in the next few days. Do as much as I can to combat some of the green. And I do wonder whether it's worth getting one of those little solar powered water fountains that would just very gently trickle some water through it, which would keep a tiny bit of flow going and a tiny bit of oxygen going into the water as the fountain cascades down. Cascades is probably a bit of a big word. Trickle, I'm sure you know what I mean. Just one of those little ones, and I think that might help, but that's by the by. I want to clear up the area around it, not completely, because this is, after all, it's a wildlife pond, and if I make it very sterile all around it, that's not going to encourage the wildlife to live here. But by the same token, I need to be able to walk around the pond to some extent, particularly now that the taberries and loganberries, which are growing along the fence behind the pond, are fruiting. And this morning I went to get a bit of fruit to go with our breakfast, and it was actually quite a fight through the undergrowth to get to it. So what I'm going to do is lift most of the grasses, or certainly the ones that have grown there wild, because there are plenty of grasses that I've planted in this area. So I'm going to remove some of the grasses that have self-sown there, and also some of this. Now, this is bee balm. I'm sure it's got a Latin name and other technical names, and it is absolutely fantastic. I love it so much. I love that it's a really good ground cover. I love the little purple flowers, and most of all, I love that the bees love the flowers. But it's a bit of a thug. In fact, it's a lot of a thug. It self-sows everywhere, and my one plant that I put in 2 years ago became several thousand plants very quickly. I just had to scoop them up en masse. So what I don't want to do is I don't want to get rid of them completely, but I think I need to think about which area they go in. And I think it might be better if they go in under the fence on the far side of the pond there, underneath where the fruit is growing. It doesn't matter if I stand on the odd bit while I'm gathering the fruit, but at least that way it's in a limited area, because that's only about 18 inches wide between the fence and the pond. I don't know if it'll grow in the water, but if it does grow in the water, well, maybe it will just help remove some of that green. So today that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to remove the knee-high thistles that have grown here, and any other plants that are just in the wrong place. Oh, waste not. all of these little strawberry plants could be transplanted, but we've got hundreds of strawberry plants, so what I'm going to do is set them aside, pop them in a bit of water and advertise on a local community site to see if anybody else needs any strawberry plants. So I'm back to gently working around the wildlife pond today, so it's day 2, and I will carry on over the next few days doing a little bit more, but I don't need to do too much each day. Now I'm not pulling all of the grasses out completely, because I do want to leave some in there as cover for any frogs or toads that might want to find our pond eventually. But what I have done is made it a little bit easier for us to access some of the fruit. The other thing I've noticed over the last couple of days is we are being absolutely plagued by small black flying beetles. I don't know if you can see them all around my head, and they keep flying in front of the camera. Well, this morning they're being a particular nuisance, so sorry about the waving hand, but they're finding me very attractive. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to go in, have a shower and get any of them out of my hair. Have taken residency there. And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you've got planned for today, I hope it's a good one. And I also hope you'll join me without all these bugs again tomorrow.